Alors, bonjour A-Level French et bienvenue au deuxième cours de révision pour le roman Sec de Bill. Alors, je vais continuer en anglais pour l'instant. Alors, right guys, welcome to the second lesson. If you haven't done the pre-reading on secondary characters, you need to pause this video and you need to go through that pre-reading. You won't be able to do this lesson or take anything from it or be prepared for the essays if you don't do that pre-reading, so make sure you do it now. Do it properly, really make notes and get to grips with it. If you're ready then, we'll start with our lesson for today. Alors, pour la prochaine fois, mes petits, so for next time, for the next video lesson, this is what you'll need to do. It's homework 3 of our revision booklet, and we're next looking at this theme here, the coming of age film, or this theme, or this German word, Bildungsroman. Voilà, so this means coming of age. This is a big part of Sec de Bill. The reading on it is really useful. I want you to do all of homework 3. Read it properly, don't just read it. Yeah, you've got to highlight it, analyze it, note down ideas, take notes, think about that pre-reading as doing the research before an essay, and then the lessons is just testing you on what you've read and just going through and making sure you're ready for it. It is so important. You need to complete the essay plans for homework 3, and after today's lesson, you'll be ready for an essay on secondary characters. So you need to send that secondary character email to me. Make sure I get that essay so I can mark it. You get 1 piece of writing a week marked now, so make sure you're using that, because the thing that is going to improve your score the most for A-level is improving your essays. We can make huge leaps, so make sure you do that. Alors donc, on commence dans les cahiers. Copiez le titre pour moi s'il vous plaît. C'est Sec de Bill Revision, les personnages secondaires. Et mettez-moi sur pause 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Comment dire les choses ici en français? Bon courage, on y va. Alors mes petits, right guys, you should restart me and be ready for this. So, secondary characters is absolutely ideal. This is one essay question and loads of people saw it when it came up in the exam and swerved it. I do not know why. It is the perfect exam question. If this is to come up on your A-level, absolutely talk about secondary characters. There's so much you can talk about, and that's the message here, guys. No matter what question comes up, you need to move it and use your skills to talk about what you want to talk about in this essay, and secondary characters does that so much. By the end of today's lesson, you'll have the confidence and the ability to do a really good answer on this, something that could come up so easily. So let's get going today. Alors mes petits, première chose à faire. Last lesson we looked at main characters. We did a lot of work on the vocabulary that you need to describe a character. Did you spend your time practicing it? This is what you should have. A character, c'est un personnage, c'est masculin. Attention, he or she represents. Il, elle représente, voilà, that makes a C, cela nous fait voir, in the manner in which, la manière dont, and then finally, it is obvious that, il est évident que. Now, all of these can be used today to talk about characters. If you don't know your character description work, you've got a booklet, it's unmemorized, spend some time learning it because you're going to need it today. Alors, donc, we talked about this at the start. Looking at a question like how important are secondary characters can really confuse some candidates for the A-level and the essay questions. They can be worded in a way that really confuses you, but this is a nice question. Today, what I want you to do and think about throughout these lessons, throughout this lesson, is the 3 key questions. First off, what does each character say and do? What is the relevance of this? Why are we told about it? What does the narrator tell us about this character? Why? Why have they chosen to give you that information? And then finally, remember this is an autobiography and it's not like everything that happens in Joe's life, but he's included all these characters. So why have they been included? What is their role? What is the point of this character? Why has Joe included it? What do we learn from them? And with that question, the answer will give you all the bases you need for a beautiful essay, which you're going to do today. So these are our 3 questions for each character. What do they say and do? Why is that important? Why do we learn about this character? And then finally, the most important one, why is this character even in the book? They play a role that links to our greater themes and our greater understanding. You need to talk about that in your essay. Alors donc, on va commencer avec une petite activité. C'est beaucoup plus compliqué à la maison, mais on peut continuer à jouer. Hein? Donc, ce que j'ai, sur la feuille que vous avez, si tu as téléchargé le document Word, il y a le première activité qui est casino. Alors aujourd'hui, casino, c'est un peu différent. Alors donc, cette fois, vous avez une phrase, une citation, quelque chose comme ça, qui décrit l'un des personnages secondaires ici. Donc, ce qu'il faut faire, il faut lire la phrase et il faut décider, il parle de quelle personne secondaire. Par exemple, ici, capturé et emmené à l'hôtel Excelsior, ce personnage a vu vitement qu'il est juif et est envoyé au camp de mort. C'est quelle personne ici? Alors, c'est Ferdinand. Voilà, bon, Ferdinand est capturé dans le sorcière, comment dit-on, mousetrap? J'oublie, hein? Alors, fait de recherche. Et puis, après ça, quand ils sont à l'hôtel Excelsior, il a vu immédiatement qu'il est juif devant les nazis et donc c'est le fin pour lui. Alors, donc, ça c'est Ferdinand. Ça c'est la première chose à faire. Donc, vous savez ce qu'il faut faire ici. Montrez-moi votre confiance. Jouez entre 10 à 100 points. Correct, multiplié par 2 les points. Incorrect, tu vas perdre ce que tu as joué ici. Attention, voilà. Donc, quitte ou double, qui veut dire en anglais double or quits. On peut multiplier par 4 les points. Ouh là là, si vous me dites le thème que il ou elle représente. Par exemple, Ferdinand, il représente le thème de persécution de juifs. Donc, écrivez ça ici, persécution de juifs, et au lieu de multiplier par 2, on va multiplier par 4. Ding, ding, ding. Alors, donc, j'espère que vous savez ce qu'il faut faire. Put me on pause now, have a little look, see if you can match it all up. I'll go for the answers in a minute. Alors mes petits, hopefully you pause me and now you're ready for answers. If not, pause me now and make sure you're finished to make sure you're happy and then go for it. Alors donc, les réponses tout le monde. Le premier, question 1. Ces personnages, pluriel, ont sauvé Joe et Maurice 2 fois pendant le texte, malgré le fait qu'ils ne sont pas de la même foi. A nice bit of vocabulary to start. Foi is faith. If you didn't know that, you'd have really struggled with this. Donc, c'est quel personnage? C'est les curés, mes petits. Voilà, donc, les curés différents ont sauvé Joe et Maurice. Le premier curé a sauvé Joe et Maurice sur le train à Dax quand les nazis sont entrés le train et ils ont demandé les papiers pour l'identification. Le prêtre a dit: les enfants sont avec moi et par conséquent, le soldat SS n'a pas vérifié les papiers de Joe et Maurice. Donc, ça, c'était la première occasion. La deuxième, c'était à l'hôtel Excelsior. Maurice est allé à la Bouffa, qui est une église à Nice, et le prêtre là-bas a falsifié les certificats de baptême. Et donc, 2 fois, Joe et Maurice ont été sauvés par les curés. Donc, you get 2 times your points if you got les curés. If you can tell me the theme, you get 4 times. Le thème, you can have more than one. Voilà, c'est la fraternité ici. Helping others in need, helping people of a different faith, people who aren't of the same religion as you. That is an example of la fraternité, brotherhood, helping out others. These people, Joe talks about a lot when you read around the book. Voilà, and he calls them les sauveurs inattendus, which means like not unwaited for, unexpected saviors, people who save you unexpectedly and go out the way and help out. Les curés is a good example of this. There's loads in the novel of ways where people go out their way to help them, and that's how he survives, by the goodness in people, by the brotherhood in people, by people helping each other out. And remember, in your essay, when you're talking about society, this is important because this is exactly the opposite of Hitler and the Nazis' ideology, that there's one race and this is the master race and everyone else is different to you and it's their reason that your life's rubbish. This is different. It's all about brotherhood, helping people out if they're the different faith or creed or colour as you. That's what society is all about. And remember, with la fraternité, liberté, égalité, fraternité. Ça, c'était la devise de la France avant la guerre et après la guerre. Remember when Pétain got into power, he got rid of liberté, égalité, fraternité, and he changed it to travail, famille, patrie, work, family, country. A lot less beautiful a message. So this is really important. La fraternité is the theme, and this is a great example of it. If you had an essay to talk about secondary characters, you need to talk about the priests and you need to say they represent the theme of fraternité. Voilà. Alors, question 2. Ces personnages représentent le débrouillardise comme caractéristique de la famille Joffo. Alors, qu'est-ce que c'est ce mot ici, hein? So it wants to say like resourcefulness, like being cunning, being clever. Who represents this as a characteristic of the Joffo family? So they've got to be in the Joffo family. Et la réponse, c'est Henri et Albert. Ils sont les frères aînés et ils représentent les débrouillardises. Voilà. Et là, c'est quel thème pour multiplier par 4 les points que vous avez joués? Henri et Albert nous montrent l'importance de mentir comme thème et la perte de innocence. N'oubliez pas, même we've talked about this, kids are told not to lie. You mustn't lie. You fibbing. Alors, mais avec les adultes, on ment tout le temps. So, a loss of innocence where instead of being honest and open like little kids are, you start to lie to get ahead in life, or because you have to survive. In Joe and Maurice and Henry and Albert's case, this is what they represent. So, this is a characteristic. When you talk about the brothers, we learn more about like the family and the way they are, but they're an example. Remember, Joe's the youngest in the family. I'm the youngest in mine, and you can't help but look up to the elders in your family, and Joe sees them lying to get ahead, to get that advantage, to help themselves, and he's going to copy that. That's a good influence to him to survive. Alors, le troisième chose, ce personnage représente la simplicité et la pureté de l'enfance. Lovely. So, the simplicity and the pureness of childhood. Remember, children aren't born racist or horrible. They don't see these horrible things. Children are lovely. They're like sweet and happy all the times, and they're much more nicer than people and adults. So, who represents this dans le livre? Alors, c'est Zerati. Il est seulement... Ah, donc c'est... Voilà, c'est un E avec accent. Donc, Zerati est seulement dans les premiers chapitres, mais il est mentionné plus tard dans le livre. Joe says, like, when I go home, I'll tell Zerati about this, or like, he does mention Zerati later, which is cute. So, this person represents the simplicity et la pureté. Quel thème clé? Il représente l'enfance en premier. He represents childhood, the good, the innocent. Let me give you an example with the yellow star. Zerati, remember, swaps a whole bag of marbles for the yellow star that Joe has to wear because he thinks it's really cool and great, and he has no idea of sort of the racial laws that have come into place for Joe to wear this. He thinks it's really cool. That shows us his innocence, his sweetness. He also shows us fraternité because he is friends with Joe, and he's friends throughout despite the fact that he's a Jew. He stands up for him when the other kids are beating him up and saying racist words. We're talking about le tarin and stuff, which is like a racist word for a nose. So he's the one who stands up for them. He still represents fraternité and innocence as well. Love the character of Zerati. Great character. All right, we're only 3 and I felt I've talked a lot, but this just shows you how much secondary characters, how much they give you and how much you can talk about them. Alors, le quatrième, personnage qui est avant tout pro-Vichy et en collabo, il vénère le maréchal et déteste la racaille Jupine. Alors, celui-ci, c'est Monsieur Montcellier, François Montcellier, je crois. Non, Ambrose Montcellier. Et il représente beaucoup de choses. Premièrement, il représente le mal. So if you put this here, you get 4 times your points. Akila, I know you're very keen on me keeping up with the points. So, le mal, ça c'est le premier. Hein? 4 times, I'll talk about this in a second. Il représente aussi la nature humaine, le contexte historique, mais aussi jeu et fraternité. Alors, on commence avec le mal et la nature humaine. Je vais les mettre ensemble. Okay, so, he represents badness, evil, and human nature. Human nature because as humans, we believe what we're told. You've heard like the prevailing ideas of any society, the ideas of the ruling class. It's Karl Marx who said that, but he's completely right, particularly when it comes to Nazi Germany, because if you're hearing all the time on the news and the posters and everyone's talking about something, you believe it. Everyone knows this is how your capitalist society survives, like with the rich 1% of the people having all the wealth and the rest of us fighting for it. That only survives because they own the TV, they own the newspapers, they own everything. They wash and they brainwash you, absolument. And this is the same in Montcellier. He represents human nature of following what he's told and believing the lies. He also represents the bad because he represents the racism. He could fight against it. He could see the different side, but he chooses not to. He believes these things. Alors, cela nous montre aussi le contexte historique, and this is important for the novel because we're always talking about the good, like le curé, the answer to number one. They represent the good in people, the French in people, the fraternité. But in the historical context, we learn a lot from this time from Monsieur Montcellier because he believes in the propaganda they put out. He believes in Pétain and Vichy France, which you're going to study more in year 13. And he gives us the idea for it. So when it comes to your essay, I'd argue, I put Montcellier in and I'd say he's the ideal secondary character because he gives us an idea of the other side of France that existed in the war. He gives us an idea of fascist France, of Nazi France, of the 4 years when France was a Nazi state run by Marshal Pétain from Vichy. This is the ideal thing, and this is what Montcellier gives us. He also shows us fraternité. So when you talk about the priests helping others, you can also mention Montcellier as the opposite, but also Joe is a saveur inattendue for Montcellier because he saves his life. After the war, there were repercussions for all the people who supported the Nazis, obviously. So like we'll learn about these more in year 13, like women who'd slept with Nazi soldiers got their heads shaved. They did the same in Northern Ireland. They used to tar and feather girls who got with the British Army. There's a long tradition of doing that. People were shot, people were killed for collaborating with the Nazis, and that's exactly what's going to happen to Montcellier. They show up at his house, they start beating him up because the Nazis have gone and he is a collabo. Joe saves him by saying c'est la cuté chaud de cacher un juif, and Montcellier had no idea, obviously Joe was a Jew. So Joe saves his life, showing turning the other cheek, showing fraternité to your enemy and making Joe un saveur inattendu. Right guys, we're only 4 questions in. I feel I've spoken a lot, but hopefully this is really, really helpful for you. On continue. Alors, numéro 5. Voilà. Donc, numéro 5 dit, le livre est dédié à ce fuyard. Voici ces derniers mots. Embrasse Maurice et je t'embrasse aussi bien fort. On va se revoir bientôt à présent. Alors non, c'est triste, numéro 5. Alors non, il y a quelques mots qui sont importants ici. Dédié veut dire en anglais dedicated. Se fuyard, donc fuir is the verb to run away. So fuyard is like, what would you call an emigre? Someone who's run away from something. Voici ces derniers mots. Here are these last words, which I'm sure you could have worked out. C'est la parole de Monsieur Joffo. Never know his first name in this, just called Monsieur Joffo or Mon Père. C'est-tu un? So this is dedicated to him. Alors, donc, qu'est-ce qu'il nous représente? 2 choses avec Monsieur Joffo. Le premier, plus important, c'est la persécution des Juifs. Monsieur Joffo va à un camp de concentration et il est mort. C'est très triste et cela nous montre la persécution des Juifs. Pas seulement au Deuxième Guerre mondiale, mais avant, il a fui la Russie parce qu'il est juif et son père lui-même a fait la même chose. Alors donc, il a fui 2 fois dans sa vie parce qu'il était juif. Et finalement, Hitler l'a tué. Et donc, Joe a dit Hitler est plus pire que le tsar ou quelque chose comme ça. Donc aussi, cela nous montre la porte de l'innocence ici. Parce que Joe a perdu son père. We talk about Joe becoming more adult and people put good examples of like he's got a job and the way he talks, he's more independent and he's lying and all that is absolutely perfect. But surely the biggest loss of innocence and the biggest loss of childhood is losing your parents, because then who've you got? You are then the person in control. I mean, I'm 30 and I still ask my mum and dad things if I'm stuck, you know, like, and hopefully I'd always have that. So it's a loss of innocence, losing a parent. This is the huge change in Joe, and what he's lost his childhood to the war, yes, because he can't go to school and do normal childhood things, but also he's lost a parent. That's a huge loss, and the way the dad's represented in the book is so bittersweet. It is beautiful. So if you want to talk about secondary characters, you have to talk about Le Père Geoffroy. He's so important. The book's dedicated to him, and look at his last words as well, absolutely heartbreaking. Alors donc, on continuera. Donc, numéro 6. On ne sait pas son nom. Ce personnage essaie de protéger Joe et Maurice en cuidant l'étoile au manteau de deux frères. Elle tremble, mais elle sourit avec les lèvres seulement. Alors, c'est qui? C'est la mère Geoffroy, Madame Geoffroy. Encore une fois, we don't know her name. They never tell us the name. And she's barely in the book at all, really. Mais ça, c'est la mère. Qu'est-ce qu'elle représente pour moi? Elle, comme le père, elle représente la persécution aussi. Her family, we learn, just like the dad, have had to flee for being Jews. So she represents exactement la même chose. I don't know why the mom's not discussed so much in the book. Maybe because she's still alive. Maybe she was going to read the book and maybe that makes you do it differently. Maybe it's because he wanted to talk so much about his dad as a dedication to him, which might be cathartic after his death. Je sais pas. Mais voilà, ça c'est la mère. Alors, il y a deux qui restent. Alors, numéro 7, c'est fut ce qu'il a la tête de tout le monde. Pas du tout un gueule de brute. Alors, pourquoi? Il parle de qui? Il parle de le soldat SS. Voilà. So, this is one example of the soldier that we have. It says, it's mad that he had the same head as everyone else. He didn't have like the mouth of a beast, so he didn't look like a monster is what he's trying to say, but what he's doing is monstrous. So why was he doing this? This is the soldier that hit Joe with his gun, grabbed him and threw him in the room to lock him away before Hotel Excelsior, and Joe can't believe that he just looks like a normal guy, not like some horrible bloke. So this, encore une fois, cela représente le mal. When you're talking about your personnage secondaire, think about this as a book between good and evil. The good helping each other out, fraternité, brotherhood. Le mal, le nazisme, and all the ways that people have acted badly to one another, which shows this human nature, the two poles of human nature. We can all be really good and do amazing, beautiful, brilliant things. We can also be bad and selfish. Look at the corona crisis now. You've got people risking their lives every day in the NHS, getting infected and fighting on, and you've got people who go and buy like all the toilet roll and flour in the shop. Ça, c'est exactement la même chose, la nature humaine. Et finalement, numéro 8. Cette personne dit, je crois qu'ici vous serez bien et en sûreté. It's my favorite character, Monsieur Subinagui. Voilà, donc Monsieur Subinagui est l'un des héros du roman. Encore une fois, il sauve la vie de Joe, de Maurice et de plusieurs d'autres jeunes juifs. Donc, il représente le bien, il représente la fraternité parce qu'il est chef de camp pétaniste, de chantier de jeunesse Moisson Nouvelle, et il est là pour cacher les juifs. Il est héros du livre. If Subinagui is caught, he's absolutely dead. Maybe his family's dead. Maybe he's killed in some horrible way for hiding so many Jews. He's doing the right thing. He's going out his way to help other people. He's not Jewish himself. This is another hero of the book. He shows us good. He shows us fraternité. So in any essay where you need to discuss secondary characters, he's a great one. Think about all the themes that he goes into. Alors donc, right guys, add up your totals. I'm sorry I've talked so much, I've not really talked about the points, but you should know how to play this by now. Add up your grand totals and see what you've got. You can email me your scores if you want, or like that, a little competition. No prize today, Akila. Alors, so hopefully from doing that first activity, you can see how this is actually a really nice exam question, and anything that invites you to talk about secondary characters, you're going to be able to use everything you've already used and learned, like the themes, the message, all of this is going to come throughout today's lesson. Keep thinking about these key questions, guys. Alors donc, ici c'est les questions d'examen. Donc, analysez les questions. Et before moving on, all I want you to do is give me 3 ideas, 3 bullet points. What would you say? What are 3 good paragraphs? Pause me now, read and analyze the question, and then I'm going to show you like my bullet points and how I put this essay together. Alors donc, la question veut dire describe and analyze, okay, 2 parts, the importance of secondary characters in the book. Looks nasty, a lovely question. So describe and analyze is fine because you can do that. You can do that in one. You're going to describe what they are and what they do and analyze the importance of. Love that. Hopefully you've got your 3 ideas. Have a look at mine. So always looks the same this. Here we go. These are the things I want to talk about and some of the points I want to get into any essay. I always want to talk about my key themes. This is what the book's been written about and the interesting things about the books. You always want to talk about the writing technique. It's simple in Secondary. Can you work this into this question? You always want to talk about the context. This is so important for any essay to get the top marks. You have to show an understanding of society and what the book's about, and that will really help you in your mark. And then finally, I want to talk about characters. So this is everything I want to talk about, how I'm going to put them to answer this key question. Because if you just talk about fraternité every time and you don't answer the exam question, you're going to get no marks. Literally 0 marks. The examiner is looking out for people who just drop the same essay every time. It's got to be different. It's got to answer the question. That doesn't mean I can't talk about every single one of these themes. So, okay, so here's how I've put it all together. So, can I talk about these things through key characters? Yes, absolutely I can. Look what I've done. I've highlighted the things to talk about and I've highlighted the characters who match to give me the purpose to answer this question. Remember, you've got to answer the question. You can't just go and always talk about fraternité and use the same paragraph again and again and again. The examiners are literally looking for that to stop A-level students doing that. You have to answer the question. If you don't, you'll get a 0, and we've seen it happen to candidates time and time and time again. Make sure it doesn't happen to you. So how can I use this? I want to talk about the main things of this book. This is a book about good versus evil, and it's a book about brotherhood and looking after your neighbour and looking after each other, which is the basis of French society after the revolution. Liberté, égalité, fraternité. So these are my key themes, and here are the people who represent it. First off, I've got the people representing le bien, which are le curé, both of them, les sauveurs inattendus, yeah, these unexpected saviours who put their necks on the line to help out Joe and to help her out. Another example of that is Monsieur Subinagvi. He represents the good. He's hiding Jewish boys, so he's important because it shows us all these things and it shows us the importance of la fraternité and the message of the book that good defeats evil. Who's the other side of this? Who represents the evil, le mal? Monsieur Moncelier, the pettiness. He's a racist. He uses racist words. He calls Jews Yupin, sale race. He calls black people the N-word. Like, all of this comes from Moncelier. He represents the bad in people, the evil in people. But also, he helps represent the good, because what's the last thing that happens to Moncelier? And what's the end of the book? Joe saves him. Joe is his sauveur inattendu. Literally, who would have thought it? A little Jewish boy saves a massive anti-Semite. And why? Because of fraternité, because of helping others, because it's the right thing to do. Even if he's a horrible man, it's all about brotherhood, helping each other, the good Samaritan. Voila, so that would be a beautiful start. I've talked about good, I've talked about evil, I've talked about fraternité, I've talked about the message of the book here and what it means and why it matters. All of that I've done through just looking at 3 secondary characters. Also, Bildungsroman, growing up, becoming an adult, the changes, I can talk about that with the family. Joe, the secondary characters give us this theme of Joe growing up as well. He looks up to his older brothers. He imitates them. He's doing the things like lying, getting ahead, using his charm and charisma. He learns that from Henri, Albert, and obviously Maurice, but I call him more of a main character. And his dad, of course. So the family shows us him growing up. Also the loss of his father and how traumatic and important an event in your life that is. That shows us that Joe has grown up. He's lost his innocence. He's lost his childhood because of the war. Et finalement, l'enfance, this is a good thing when you're talking about Bildungsroman and growing up, we get an idea. We only see Joe growing up and becoming like a man at the end because of how childish he is. Now, you know the quote about playing marbles in the street, crying because he's lost his favourite marble and all this sort of thing. There's secondary characters who show it as well. Zerati and to another extent, Ange Testi in Moisson Nouvelle. So Zerati is ideal to show his childhood. He doesn't understand the significance of the yellow star. He doesn't understand what that is. He also sticks up for them as well, so he shows fraternité. But these secondary characters show us childhood. Think about the techniques as well. Think about, I've not put it here and I should have done, think about the language. It's not written in some sort of eloquent, difficult, literary style. I spoke about this on the last revision lesson. It's written in a very simple, straightforward, childlike manner with loads of like elision where they put words together like tu as de la chance que c'est chouette and all that. There's loads of slang terms in it. That shows us, so the way he writes and the way I'd say Zerati speaks shows us that he's childish, and then that develops later on in the book. So all of these things come, and this is what to talk about, guys. This is how I'd name it. These would be my 4 points, but I'd put them together. I'd put yellow and yellow together, green and blue together to make my point overall, and that would be a beautiful essay. Alors, right guys, so let's see what you can do, and let's put it all together. So I've spoken enough, spoken for 31 minutes today. I really think I'm lecturing you all, which is no good. So this is what I want you to do. Alors donc, vous avez les citations. Je dis, première chose à faire, prenez 5 couleurs. Voilà, 1, 2, 3, 4, oui, 5 couleurs. Well, I know you won't have 5 colours in your house. I don't know what you're going to use, like a burnt match and like, I don't know, it's down to you, bro. Alors donc, ici vous avez les questions. Avec les citations, il parle de quelle personne. D'accord? Donc les citations parlent de quelle personne. Et ce personnage représente quel thème selon les citations. Et finalement, dans une phrase, répondez à la question ici pour chaque personne. So, Zerati, how does he, what's the importance of him? How can you describe and analyze his importance in the book? Same thing with Montcellier. What does he bring? What's his importance? Tell me in one sentence. All right, put me in pause and I'll show you the answers. Alors, donc le premier, guys, here's our quotes for Zerati and Ange Testi. This is what you've got, some really good ones. So here, tu as vachement du pot, ça fait chouette. This is Zerati not understanding the significance of the yellow star, showing us childhood. This is Zerati showing us fraternité. I love this quote. Il ne doit pas dépasser 35 kilos et au concours de biceps, il est toujours le dernier. So he couldn't weigh more than 35 kilos. That's like half of me. And in the biggest bicep competition, we've all done it, he is always in last place. So he's the smallest kid, and what does he do? He stands up for them. When the fight happens, he goes out and puffs out his chest to try and stand up for his friends, showing the goodness in childhood and innocence, and that they do the right things. Bless him. And then finally, tu connais l'histoire d'Ange? Eh bien sûr, il la raconte assez souvent. This is when they're talking about the story of Ange Testi, who gives them the lie that gets them out of Hotel Excelsior, that they're from Algeria, because it's actually the truth for Ange. So this is important because it shows us the difference between childhood and learning to grow up and learning to lie to get ahead. Puis les curés, simple les curés, these are les sauveurs inattendus. They put themselves on the line in front of the soldiers. They risk their lives to free Jo and Maurice, even though they know they're Jews, even though they know they're not linked to them. They still risk their lives for them. Monsieur Montcellier, talked about him loads. He's a horrible, horrible bloke, a racist. Look at what he says. Les saluts juifs, so like the Jewish bastards. La racaille Yupin. This is like a word that means like a gang or a group, but it's definitely got racial undertones. Once a president used it and he got like absolutely hammered in the press. So I don't know, there's no English equivalent to the word. If it is, it's just a racist word that I don't know, but this shows his racism, always talking about Yupin, etc. But here we go, this is Joe here, and this is what it says about him. Oh yeah, you'll see, you had a Jew living with you, a real Jew. And the thing is, it's a Jew who's going to save your skin. So Joe saves him turns the other cheek and looks after him, and this shows the importance of Montcellier. The other thing I talk with about Montcellier is the historical content. We learn about Nazism and the ideas in Europe at this time about race through Montcellier, which is really important because that's the historical content that this book is about. Alors, Suivi d'Aiguille, we've spoken loads about him. This is a great quote to remember for him. Je crois qu'ici vous serez bien et en sûreté. So I think that here you'll be good and safe. He's the one who's risking his life running a camp. Everyone knows about Schindler from the film Schindler's List. This is like that. There's loads of examples of Schindler who saved people, and it's just a fantastic, fantastic man who does the right thing, who does the good, even if it's risking his own life. Et finalement, La famille Joffo. So remember, this is a book about childhood. It's a book about that age where your family is so important to you. And this tells you all about it. So you've got a few things. You've got Henri talking about lying and how they get by, and the fact that Joe looks up to his older brothers. And then you've got the dad, which is the crushing bit, which is Bildungsroman, because he says about his dad, dad with his beautiful stories, the king of the street. Joe really admires his dad. We talk about youth. Think about what he says about his dad. He never says a bad word about him. The way he sees him and the way he talks about him is really how a young boy looks up to their parents. And then the last line on him, finally, Hitler would have been more cruel than the Tsar, because we know Joe loses his dad, and that is the ultimate Bildungsroman, losing your parent. Right, guys, so a brilliant, brilliant effort today. This is a little activity I've done with other classes where it just helps you write a paragraph where you think about what you want to say and you think about your structure. This might be a good activity for you to do now. 10 minutes, just get your head around these points and see if you can do this, or you might want to use this when you do your essay. So I want an essay on secondary characters. Do this title. We've talked about it enough. See what you can do. Send that to me and then get your pre-reading for homework free. I know this has been a huge lesson. It's gone for almost 40 minutes, but I hope it's been helpful. If you've got any questions, email me. I'm sat here at home waiting for you guys to help you out. It will be a pleasure to get your emails. Make sure you get on it, guys. Alors donc, à la prochaine fois, mes petits. Au revoir.